Hi and welcome. I have Mandy Perry with us. Welcome, Mandy.
Hi, so happy to be here. So happy.
Yay! I feel like I have to sing. I have to sing.
Happy.
I know that's your thing, so I'm like, I'm gonna sing too. All right, so I'm just gonna tell everyone a bit about you, and I'm so excited to dive in. You are the perfect person to talk about turning your passions to profits. So Mandy Perry is a mother of two and a world-renowned leader for real, raw, limitless success. She is widely known across the globe as the queen of simple success and embodies a type of deep authenticity that is hard to find. Yes, I can definitely attest to this. She's quite unlike any other coach you will find, as she shares all of her real life experiences openly so others can learn with her. I love that. In 2017, she launched her business and went from a woman on welfare with no business experience to a global $1.4 million company in 3 years organically. We are 100% talking about this. Virtually unheard of in this space, yes. Mandy is known for helping other driven humans make money online, showing them how to do it immediately without fancy complex systems or overhead. Everything from clients, digital programs to masterminds and events. And I'm part of some of Mandy's programs, and yeah, it's like boom, done, so clear. She has a powerful gift for helping people make money now, the fastest, funnest, easiest way possible, no matter where they are in the journey. She stands for raw, honest, vulnerable being, radical self-responsibility, and limitless enjoyment of life. She stands for making money now, letting it be easy, and allowing yourself to enjoy the process. She has led thousands of clients to pay off debt, buy their dream homes, hit six-figure years, quit their 9-to-5s, and consistently make more in a month than they used to in a year, 20K, 30K, $40,000 months. A true self-made woman, Mandy started from the bottom and worked through depression, suicide attempts, anxiety, poverty, and a long history of abuse. She is an unwavering force, standing for everyone understanding their worth and the value they bring to the world. She grew up in Massachusetts, was a Marine, and is now living with her children in Florida. But you can find her frolicking the world, leaving a wake of success and joy behind her. I love
Whoever wrote
that.
that, I feel so known. They did such a good job.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. I'm like, there's so many things. Yeah, and I know for everyone out there listening, if you have a thing, like, no, you're not alone. I mean, this is Mandy who's standing here. I've been following her, listening to her videos, and I can really attest to her just putting it all out there, which I love, because then we're like, it's no mystery. Like, it does not have to be any mystery. So is there anything you would want to add? Is there one little nugget you're like, I just want to say this. This is one thing in my bio, in that description, that I just want to touch on.
Now, you know what just came up for me though was like when you were talking about the clients who have done this, it's like I had the sense of like, if you only knew what they did, like if you only knew, it felt the same for all of them as it felt for me, and it feels the same for all of us. We all feel like we're not enough. We all have all those stories. We all try and fail and keep doing it. It's not working. Like it felt like that for all of them, and they all had breakthrough too. Like this really is possible for everybody. That's like what was overwhelmingly coming for me. Like yeah, they all stumbled and it was hard, and then they did it. They stayed
Yeah.
it until
Right, like you can see them. It's like you're at that place where, like, yes, I see them, I see you. Like, so for anyone who has that doubt or that fear, like, yes, I see you. I can see that there's this potential that you can do this too.
Yeah, I'm often saying to my clients, you're right on track. This is exactly
Yeah.
what it looks like. And they're like, they think something's wrong or they're so far off. And that's where the pain is coming from. No, this is what it looks like. You're right on track.
Check, you're in that spot, check. Okay, so we're just gonna dive right in. So, I mean, tell us about your backstory. I mean, this whole thing you talk about, this is the one thing, like, I have not heard this part from you. Being, going through your divorce, being this mom on welfare, like, tell us, like, what happened? What was going on? And how the heck did you get here? Tell us the whole thing.
So actually, like, okay, so I basically, I grew up very, very poor. And then I was on welfare. I had, my son pretty young. And then I was on welfare pretty consistently, other than obviously when I was in the Marine Corps and working through that. But then I got pregnant, right when I got out of the Marine Corps, went on welfare, and then stayed that way. So that all happened. I started my business, got married a few years later, got divorced a few years later, became a single mom again after that. So it was actually during the success of my company that I asked for a divorce and went through. Just so that's clear. But basically, what everybody really wants to know is, how did that first year happen? Like, because I didn't even realize it was a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, you just jump in and it's working and you're just like, holy crap, but you're thinking that's what everybody who jumps in and does this hard thing gets. And I had no idea that the kind of success I was having was basically really, like, as whoever wrote that said, as she wrote, it was virtually unheard of in the space. And I didn't know that. So it took me a minute, like, while I was doing it and I was, teaching other people, it just sort of, I was started as a health coach. And then other people were asking me, like, how did you have success doing that? And I was like, well, I don't really know. And I just sat down and cared. You know what I mean? Like, I got curious and I cared about them. I'm like, what are they doing and thinking? What am I doing and thinking? And like, oh, well, I'm thinking this and I'm doing this. And then they started doing it and my success started being replicated. And then the word spread really fast, like, hey, this thing works. Like, this thing Mandy does to make money really works. And then it just blew up from there. So I became a business coach. Like, I was teaching people how to make money online like 3 months after I got off of welfare. It was very bizarre. So I had like financial CEO women who were like super successful coming to me, asking me to teach them. And I'm basically like, you get that I was on welfare 3 months ago, right? Like, I was a nanny for 10 years on welfare for many, many years. And they're like a CFO of this financial corporation coming to me and they're like, no, I get it, but you have the skill and I want it. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Right. Huh. So like, that's just sort of how that was, like the details of what that looked like. But it took me a year of really looking back after and being like, okay, once I realized it was a phenomenon of this thing that I did, and I looked back like, okay, what really caused the success? And there's one thing that I go to every single time. It's the kitchen. When I was sitting in the kitchen, bawling my freaking eyes out, thinking, who the hell am I to do this? I'm that trashy welfare girl. Like, what on earth made me think that I could do this? People around me were telling me I was crazy for the investment I had just made. People were saying, the best coach we know makes this much money, and she's been doing this for 20 years. What makes you think you could do it? I mean, these were the things people were saying to me. And I had just made my first big investment for a year-long program that was $24,000. And I was sitting on the kitchen floor bawling, just trying so hard to make it somebody else's problem. I just didn't want it to be my problem. I did not want to be responsible. I did not want to have to do that. And so remembering that moment, I was like, okay, what is it about that moment that makes me feel like that's why I was able to do what I did? And I realized, oh, because there's 100 other moments that I was freaking out. I was bawling. I was having temper tantrums. I didn't, you want me to get on in 12 weeks and coach somebody on a Friday at 12? I don't know how I'm going to feel in 12 weeks on a Friday. Like, what if I just got in a fight with my ex? Or what if I, have my menstrual cycle? Or what if I'm hungover? Or what if, who knows? Like, so it was really understanding, like, oh, all of my success was because of, yes, the mentorship that I put myself in a position I couldn't get out of. Yes, it was because I learned the skill of taking action right now. But it all boiled down to my being able to get myself through the moments where it felt like nothing was working. I was a piece of crap. I felt guilty. I felt scared. It felt like it wasn't going to work. I felt like I was being reckless. And being able to navigate those moments and show up and keep going until, and staying in that energy of like, I'm doing this until. There is no pass or fail. There's no quitting. So there's no failure. You just do it until. That's the reason in such a big way that I had so much rapid success.
Yeah. And some things really stand out. Like, one, to take that leap, to take that $24,000 leap right out of the gate. So, I mean, there's a few things that stand out. One is I've heard you talk about this, like, you are someone who makes bold moves.
Yeah.
You're someone who makes bold moves. And I feel like above anything else, people are scared to do that because, I mean, clearly it's an investment. And if you fail, you're on the hook for $24,000 when you are on welfare. So that's the first thing, like and there's a follow-up from that too, but what do you think? Is it just like your nature? Like, what would you say to someone who is probably thinking about doing something like that, to give them that push to like, go for it. Look what you can do. Look at the possibility.
Here's the thing. And we don't like to do this. So, the reason we hesitate when it's time to like commit to something is because we don't trust ourselves to show up to the level to make it worth it. That's what's going on. So what happens is we look at the past and we use that as evidence of what's available in our future. But the past is not evidence of what's available for us in the future. It's just what happened up until then. And up until then, you haven't made a commitment where you can't turn back from. You haven't burned the boats. You haven't done something courageous to, you know, put your money where your mouth is, or put your time where your mouth is, or let yourself be seen or heard. So once you take that brave action, you're already a different human being, right? Like now you become a different human being. What is the point of using the past for evidence of what's now going to happen? So it's really, it's, you know, it's wealth concepts, right? Like I put myself into debt over and over and over to always get to that next level. Thank God I did. Thank God I learned that, you know, poverty concept is, I'm not really sure. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm like, what if I make the wrong decision? So I'm just going to sit up here and make no decision. You know what I mean? Like that's poverty. I'm not, well, I can't go into debt. I need to save money, or I need to pay off my debt before I invest in this thing that's going to help me make money. I started learning like, oh, like to me, that felt like common sense. Like, yeah, why would you invest in something on a credit card if you still have student loans or something? Like that doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense in the world of wealth. It makes perfect sense. We use other people's money to put ourselves to the next level. Not for frivolous things, but anything that expands us to the next level, go ahead and use other people's money to get yourself there. So I invested that $24,000 where I had to make $2,000 every month when my nervous system was set at $400 a month. But I used other people's money on my credit card. I raised my credit cards. I sold stuff. I did a public fundraiser. I did some scary crap, some embarrassing crap. I did whatever it took. And at the end of the year, when I made $500K, which was unthinkable when I made that, I mean, there's no part of me that thought that that was possible in the beginning, right? It was just elevating over time. But like, thank God I made that $24,000 investment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's also been many investments I made that didn't turn out very well, but I learned such a big lesson. And that also made it completely worth it. So it's really, it's challenging some of the poverty thinking that we have, that making investments is bad, or you need to be careful with money. It's not careful, it's savvy. We're not being careful with money. We're being savvy with money. We're being smart with money. We're using it to advance us to the next level. And then it's facing the story that, well, in the past, I've not done what it took to make it worth it. Well, in the past, did you have to? Because if you're anything like me, you're kind of stubborn and you'll push it really far, and then you'll show up. So what I do is I skip through all of that and I just put myself in a position where I have no choice but to show up, which looks like this. In order to make that investment worth it, I would have to show up differently. Then that's the investment you should make. That scares the crap out of me. Then that's the thing you should be doing, right? So it's just understanding like, I'm going to do something where I'd have to be different. I'd have to be better to make that worth it. Then that's exactly where you should be going. That's the pace that I was taking consistently. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. Especially what you talk about with the poverty mindset, you know, it's looking at like what you need. It's like those baby steps you need to build, but that's not how wealthy people are making money. Like they're investing all the time. And to your point, sometimes those investments, they don't pan out, and that's okay. And that's okay because there's the next thing, there's the next thing ahead. So when you were like, this is a part I feel like is really important because anyone who's going to do this is probably going to go through this, is be that crumpled heap on the floor, like that, holy crap, what did I just do? How am I going to do this? How am I going to show up? Like if that stress starts to come in, you know, you see sometimes these people like, yes, it can be easy when you do some of that work to allow it to be. And there's going to be probably this space where it might be hard and you might want to give up. So what did you do when you've made like these bold leaps, like even leaving a marriage, getting a divorce, these are bold leaps. It's like saying, like realizing you went from welfare and you were going to do this, like you weren't going to allow that to be your story. So what did you do when you were a crying heap on the floor?
Knowing my why. Knowing my why is a big deal, but it's also the association to the sensation I have in my body. So I was really locked into my why, which back then was putting food on the table for my kids. They both had diagnoses. I wanted to buy organic food for them. And I remember the day, like I literally remember this like it was yesterday. I went to the grocery store and I paid for the groceries with my money, not an EBT food stamps card. And that day I cut my food stamps card up. It was the scariest day of my life. Like, oh my God, I'm never going back to this. And I like set that tone. But I went to the grocery store and I paid in a way where I wasn't wondering, did I go over? Do I have to put something back? I just paid and I knew there was plenty of money in the bank to pay for it. And I was like feeling that as I was driving home, like, holy crap, I just paid with my money that I made in my company and I didn't have to wonder if I paid too much. I don't feel guilty because I bought organic food for my kids. And I got home and I parked the car and I was taking the bags out and it like, there was like birds chirping and the sun was on me. And I just literally I just dropped my knees with the groceries in my hand. I just started bawling. Like, this is how life gets to be, like this, like where we have our needs met, where we show up and we're able to take care of the people that we love, where we feel really proud of ourselves. Right. And it's like, in that moment, like, yeah, so it started out with my why was getting food for my kids and putting food on the table. And that was always like a hustle for me just to get food on the table. And then, you know, over time it turns into a different why and we evolve and we let that happen. But it's also through that process while we're in between or finding our why or doing whatever, it also boils down to our ability to associate to the sensation in our body. So for a lot of people, when they're starting, oh my God, I just made this investment. I just paid whatever this amount is. Like, holy crap, I committed to 3 months of this. You know, what if this happens? What if that happens? Well, what if this is the moment everything goes right? What if this is the huge breakthrough you've just been waiting for? What if this is when the tears of joy are going to come down your face? Like, what if this is that? And then it's the feeling in your body. So when that fear comes up of like, but what if this doesn't work? Or what if I make a fool of myself? Or what if I try this and I give everything I've got and it still doesn't work? It's in that inside of your body, it's recognizing like, okay, this is the feeling I feel. And this might feel silly, but this is powerful, right? So I feel this feeling of like, oh, what if? And so to me, I wired that in my body of understanding like, oh, that's fear. Because as Oprah says, no greater battle than the part of yourself that wants to stay the same and the party that wants to change. And they're freaking duking it out. And that's what you're feeling, this war going on. And so, you know, oh, I'm growing. Like, oh, this is what I used to say to my clients all the time, like, growing feels like growing. It doesn't feel like complacency. It feels like growing. So if you want to feel safe, what you're doing is you're attaching safety to that feeling of fear and panic that comes up. It's just an association. It's just what you're associating the feeling. So to me, when I'm feeling that fear and that like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's like, bam, I'm on track. I'm growing. I'm not stagnant. I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm not holding back. I'm growing. And whatever happens, I'm safe because I'm either going to learn an amazing lesson. I'm going to create an incredible memory that I love, or I'm going to get the results that I want. So that panic and that fear and stepping into that fear became something that made me feel safe rather than shutting me down.
That part's really interesting to me because I don't know if you know this part about me, but I'm a yoga teacher. I studied conflict resolution and my whole thing was like about how we feel. Like if you're going through a divorce and you can take care of all the stuff, but like what's left over? Like what do we hold? Like that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, not fascinated, but that's what is important to me about transformation. So what I haven't heard though, about the fear piece is exactly what you just said. I'm really curious like how you kind of came to this, or if you were helping someone understand this in their own bodies, like what you'd say. Because what you just said is when you're feeling that fear, it's not like about getting rid of it or overpowering it. It's like, oh, that's okay, cool, good. Like it's embracing it. Like that means I'm growing. Like that's the good stuff.
It literally tangibly, actually, it's not like fluffy. It's like, that is actually evidence that you are on track and growing. That is evidence that you are expanding, that you are moving to that next level. That is the evidence. And that feeling never goes away. You just learn to identify with it differently. Like it's not evidence that something's wrong. It's evidence that something's right. It's evidence that something right versus complacency. Like what's the alternative? Complacency. That's the alternative. Staying the same, staying here, like nothing ever changing, living the same year over and over, calling it a life.
Mm-hmm. And not even that, also like that, and you know, going to things that will numb it, like going to alcohol, going to foods, going to just Netflixing it so we can just not feel that. So how would you help someone like tune into that? Because we can be in it and not even realize it. So what would you say to someone if they were making that big leap and they were feeling that fear? Like how do you even get to that place where you identify it and then you're like, oh, okay, that's good?
Okay, so this is a funny story. When I was first learning how to do this, I had a coach and she was like, how do you feel? And I was like, well, I need everybody to shut the hell up and I need a glass of wine. And she's like, that's not a feeling. And I'm like, oh yes, I assure you that is a feeling. That is exactly how I feel. Everybody needs to shut the hell up and I need a glass of wine. That is how I feel right now. And she's like, yeah, that is not a feeling. And I was so confused, like, that's how I feel. And it was like, I didn't, because of so much trauma and abuse in my childhood and, you know, all of the stuff I went through, I was so disassociated with how I feel. And the real honest truth is transformation happens in emotion. that's where it happens, right? Like it doesn't happen in our head. It doesn't happen when we're analyzing. It doesn't happen when we're figuring out and planning and rescheduling over and over. Like that's not where the transformation happens. And we want to become a different human being, because that person, if you learn to think, this is going to sound like what it sounds like, but if you learned to think like I think, you would get the results I get. When people pay me, they're paying access to the way that I think, because how I think gets me the result, not what I do. You could do it 100 different ways. We all know, we see it. There's a whole bunch of people doing it different ways. It's not how you do it. You could mimic how that person does it if that feels good for you, but it's how you think that gets you the result. So in those moments when like all the panic was hitting me, or the fear and anxiety, like, you know, depression, for sure, depression, yeah, all of those kind of things, it was about actually being able to feel the feeling of it. So it was telling the truth about how I feel without a story that I can't have success if I feel this way. Like I just made a big mistake in my company. Like I'm a 4-year-old toddler in my company. I'm running a global company as a 4-year-old who knew nothing about company, learning as fast as I can, but I made a big mistake. Now, in that moment, there's this loud voice coming in my head, like, oh, you made a mistake, and so now nobody's going to want to learn from you, right? And it's really loud, and I kind of want to hide it, except for that's not the brand that I committed to. That's not who I committed to being. So it's really just allowing myself to feel those feelings. Like, okay, I have a story, this scary story that because I made a big mistake, I lose credibility, or I this or I that. And like, do I really believe that's true? And just being present with it for 10 seconds and letting myself feel that feeling. We have a story that's why we Netflix, that's why we eat, it's why we drink, it's why we do what we do. Because we have a story that if I allow myself to feel that, it's going to take me down. It will take me out. I'll get depressed. I'll get anxious. Actually, that's the complete opposite of reality. Reality is feeling a feeling will never kill you, but not feeling the feeling will. It will drive you. It will run your life. So it's really just being around people, having support and mentorship where you feel safe to tell the friggin' truth. I do it in my branding. So the first thing I did was hop online and say, I made a huge mistake in my business and this is what's happening. And I'm walking myself through this. This is the first real big mistake I've made and I'm walking myself through it. And this is how I'm walking myself through. So now other people feel free to make mistakes. Other people are like, I want to walk myself through my mistake too. And they're hopping on board. It didn't hurt anything. But that's true in every area of your life. So wherever we are right now, if we allow ourselves, like if we surrender to like that being what it is, most of the pain and fear comes from a story that we're not enough right now. I should be better off. I should be somewhere else. I need more evidence and proof. No, we don't. That's just crap. That's all a boogeyman under the bed. That's not real. It feels so real, but it's not. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear that completely. And you just said something that I love, which is tell the truth. So like with these big emotions and this part, when I feel like this can be, like this could be really, it can be really scary. It can be really scary. And I know you just mentioned like get a mentor. Like if someone is just that they have that stuff, they have something from the past trauma, if they have, it's still there. Like what would you, I mean, clearly I could just say like get a therapist, but what would you say, what would you recommend to kind of walk through that?
So if I know I still, cause like I definitely, like just the other day I was bawling and crying because I realized I still have this question of like, why didn't anyone protect me when I was a kid? So, now that I'm a single woman and I'm dating, I find myself dating the kind of men that are in a position where they can't really protect me, or I'm not feeling that sense of protection like I'm desiring. And it's like, I'm choosing that same thing over and over because I'm trying to heal that old wound. All right. So I face it and I look at it like, oh, okay. I desire to feel protected, but I have a story that either protection doesn't really exist, I don't get to have that, or something innately about me doesn't allow me to draw that in. So I just started bawling and letting myself feel the story that I'm not good enough for anybody to protect. No, like literally 25 adults knew what was happening to me over and over throughout my whole entire life. Nobody ever did anything. Nobody protected me. And so it was like the story of like, why didn't God protect me? Why didn't people protect me? What is protection? So honestly, the power move is for me to ask really honest questions to myself. Like, well, what do I believe about being protected? How am I not protecting myself? But I also just cried. I spent 2 hours just crying and just feeling like, well, I'm sad that nobody protected me when I was a kid. And I cried and I let myself feel it fully and let it go. And like, okay, now I'm recreating that in my life right now. I reached out to my mentor. I got support and put it on the table. I told the truth about it, but I just let it be what it was. Like, there's no feeling inside of me like I can't have what I want in life. I can't be loved, or I can't have the success or the clients, or I can't lead the way I want to because I still have this wound of not really understanding what it means to be protected. And I haven't fully answered that, but so I just started journaling. What does it mean to be protected? What do I believe about how it works in the world to be protected? What does it look like for me to be protected? How would I be protecting myself? Is there something to even be protected from? Like, what is the longing that I have in there? And then my power move is, how am I not giving it to myself? So I never go without support for that kind of stuff. I don't believe we're meant to navigate things alone. And so along the way, I learned it's not about, can I afford this? Should I do this? It's, what do I desire? So when something like that comes up, no matter what's going on, the financial circumstance, even after my big mistake, I'm going to call in support for things like that without a story that I'm screwed up and I have to keep investing to unscrew myself. All of that mess aside, just what do I desire? I desired for somebody to be in that with me and to help me navigate those waters. But my own personal power move is to ask myself, okay, what is the thing I'm desperate for right now? Because what you're desperate for will control you, end of story. You will back that till the ends of the mother earth, right? Like, you are going to back that. So what am I desperate for? I'm desperate to feel like I'm important enough to be protected. Like somebody would say, hey, you can't do that to her. Or like, oh, what does she need? Is she okay? I was just desperate for that kind of energy. And then it was, how are you giving that to yourself, Mandy? Because when I give it to myself, I become a match for that energetically outside of me. So yeah, that's my honest answer. Along the way, I've always had support. End of story. I will always have support. I will always give myself what I need, no matter what else is on the outside. And I've wired myself to believe whatever I invest, I get tenfold back. That's it. I don't know how fast that's going to happen, but I know it will happen. And my power move is to, how do I feel? What do I need? Do that. Let myself feel the actual feeling, and then tell the truth about, I'm looking externally for something that can only happen internally. I know that. We don't like to talk about that. Nobody likes to think about that. We just want some kind of magical fix. That's not how it works. So either you're going to do the real work or you're not, and you want the result or you don't. You're going to live the same day over and over, or you're going to break through this. And breaking through it looks like letting it be heard and seen by other people. We are not meant to do this alone, whatever that looks like for you. And it also looks like calling yourself out on, this isn't going to come from a husband or a guy or a boy or a wife or anybody. It's going to literally come from you. So whatever you're desperate for, how are you not giving that to yourself? And actually, in the moment when you're feeling all those feelings, having whatever support you need to be able to stop right then and be like, okay, this is that moment. This is the moment when I turn on Netflix, when I drink the wine, when I do the damn thing, and I don't show up right now. And it's about telling yourself the truth. Every time I do this, it's going to get harder and harder for me to feel how I feel. I'm not listening to myself. I'm ignoring myself. I'm not loving myself. I'm not being present with myself. And then I wonder why I feel like this. Well, that's why we feel like this. So even if you set a timer for 10 minutes during that moment and just say, okay, I'm just going to sit down for 10 minutes. I'm going to listen to music and dance. I'm just going to do something else besides check out from myself at this moment. Even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 20 seconds, anything is better than nothing. And you start to build that muscle, and you start to just hear yourself more and be guided more and feel better and feel more powerful. And you start to trust yourself more and have confidence more. And you watch that sort of magnetically go out and ripple through the people around you. And you start to see that reflected back to you. And then it becomes addicting. Then you're like, okay, I can take, right? In the beginning, it's like you just do the work, but after you do the work consistently for a while, you start to get the rewards, and the reward motivates you to keep going. And then now you're in a cycle that just keeps going by itself, basically.
Yeah, like that's the dopamine hit, instead of the scroll and the likes and the pings, it's like, that's the dopamine hit.
Yes.
And it is the inner work. And what you're calling out is just stop, just do it right then. Don't let it don't say, oh, I'll wait till tomorrow, or just push it aside. And what I'm also hearing is that, it doesn't matter like how big you get, there's always going to be this opportunity to do the inner work.
Oh yeah.
Opportunity. It's going to be
same crap, new level.
Yeah. So,
yes.
All right. So I want to talk with you about this tell the truth thing, because I was on a coaching call with you and you're like, well, just tell the truth. And I was like, oh yeah. just do that. Okay. That's it. Like that's what we got. But it was so perfect. I'm like, oh, it should have been more complicated, shouldn't it? So what do you like in terms of tell the truth? What is available to us when we tell the truth?
Okay. Freedom. Like unbridled, untouchable freedom from anything and everything when we just tell the truth. So preceded by telling the truth is usually surrender, like full surrender to what is. And that's really largely challenging the stories that anything should be any different than what it is, and pretending we're the CEO of the universe that should know how everything should be in the moments it should all happen. And like, maybe we could just let source be the CEO of the universe and we could just be us. And it's really, so we're surrendering to what is. And then, you know, here's what I want to say. When we're telling the truth, there's a whole bunch of different versions of what the truth is. So if I'm feeling depressed and crappy, when I go to tell the truth, it's going to be a truth that's spun from that glass is half empty. But when I'm feeling powerful and I know this is for me, my truth is going to sound differently. So I do think that the power move is to tell the truth. So like even in coaching sessions, right? Like clients will say, well, I heard this thing she said and I knew that wasn't in alignment. I'm like, did you say that? Well, no. Well, the reason people feel like oxygen around me, and I know this largely, I've gotten this feedback for, you know, so long now, is they're like, oh, it's like stating the obvious. It's just the freedom to say the unspoken things. And when you're the kind of human being who's saying the things that everybody knows but nobody's saying, it's like they're like, oh, it just feels like inhaling oxygen, because it's reality that everybody's in denial of. So the way that I teach my clients is tell the truth the way you want it to be told, right? So like you're choosing, basically this is like a power question you can ask yourself, especially when you're in the middle of getting your butt kicked, or you're like, you're wanting to go full in, but you're just kind of hesitating or hemming and hawing, or you're being wishy-washy, going back and forth, whatever the thing is. You ask yourself like, okay, if this failed, or if something did just fail, right? If you did something and you really screwed up. So when I made this big investment in my company and realized that was so out of alignment, I was just trying to look for a magical pill and it was really dumb. The first thing I asked myself was, why was that the smartest, most amazing, incredible thing I could have ever done? Like, why was that the greatest thing that could have ever happened? The smartest thing I could have ever done? Well, now I'm tuning into my money differently. I actually hired a CFO. We're organizing all these things on the back end. I'm tuning into all these things that I was just being like, no big deal about. I was maturing so huge in my company. So in those moments when we're telling the truth, it's really like, okay, fast forward to myself 10 years from now. How did I walk myself through this? What result did I get? And then how did I go back and tell the story of what it feels like right now and tell that story, right? That is like such an empowering way to tell the truth, but nothing ever had to be any different than what it was. I did not make the mistake. It didn't not kick my butt. Like everything was what it was, but it still is in my journey of going where I want to go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have to sugarcoat it. And at the same time, it's exactly what it kind of probably rewrited the whole thing so that you could make those power moves to hire the people that you needed to have the company succeed. Otherwise, you maybe wouldn't have known that. You would have kept cruising along and it would have been a different story.
I can't, like, when looking at it, I'm like, thank God this happened now. Like there was so much naivety just around money and organization on the back end of a company and stuff. Like the mentors I chose were largely like, you know, just keep spending and just keep expanding. And nobody was teaching like organization or like the legs and the foundation, like the managerial parts of the company. And I never thought to ask. I didn't know. I literally was that naive. So thank God that happened. And all of a sudden I was awakened to all these things. But the decisions you make, so if you come from the place of you know, if I failed, why would that be the greatest thing that ever happened? What would be maturing in me? And coming from that place, or, you know, if I did fail, why was that the greatest thing that ever happened? What's happening is you're gleaning every piece of value out of what just happened. So I think of it as like Brene Brown's like arena, right? Like there's an arena and there's gladiators, and like all of a sudden I show up and it's like, oh, like this is my arena and I am here to grow and to learn and to battle and to come out on the other side and win. What am I battling for? What am I winning for? What is the lesson in there? Like what's the transformation on the other side I'm getting? And I just noticed moments in my life where like, oh, you just walked into an arena and you didn't even realize it. Boom, you're in the arena. Okay, what do you get? What's the win? When you win and you're through this battle right here, what's the big celebration win? What's the big gift you get on the other side? And when I think about that and let myself tune into that energy, I make choices to back that. And then all of a sudden that becomes reality, end of story. Versus if I'm coming from a place of this is scary and what if this doesn't work and oh my God, I screwed up and like I did, then it's like you're trying to clean up, right? You're just like, oh, I'm trying to like clean up and make this not so bad, and you're not getting the power that's coming from it. Same thing with making decisions to invest in yourself. What if this doesn't work? Versus like no matter what happens, I'm squeezing every drop out of this. You know, in my programs, you hear me say, get what you came for. What did you come for? It's your role to get what you came for in this group. Be the squeaky wheel. Do whatever it takes to get what you came for in here, because that's the energy that really served me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that feels like power moves. Like you talk about these power moves. What are power moves? What are power moves?
So literally, so there's a couple different areas of life, right? But let's just say we're talking about making money. So power move would be actually investing and committing yourself in a position where you cannot get out of it. It's a commitment. You're in, there's no refund. You can't, like, if you screw it up, you screw it up, and you're going to learn the lessons. You're going to become the human being, and then you're going to get to do it again. If you nail it and crush it, then you do. It's just like, I'm put myself in a position where I can't get out of. I made the commitment. I followed through to it. It looks like, a power move around, creating money might be, I don't feel like I know exactly what this program is, and I feel a little bit guilty about showing up and selling every day, but I'm going to give the very best I have to give today. Versus I'm looking at this girl and this girl and this girl, and they're so amazing, and like, okay, how do I be more like her, and how do I speak like her, and how do I lose weight to be like this, and how do I have a fancy background, and how do I blah, 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 instead of just, and then we're not taking action today. Like, either you know how to take action today right now, or you don't. So a power move looks like, I'm going to write the blog, and I'm just going to tell people to PM me. Then I'm going to create the program. Like, well, the program's not fancy enough, or I don't have a membership site. Oh, but I'm going to create it. And okay, here's my program. You're going to go into a Facebook group, and here's the payment link. I don't even have a sales page. Okay, I used a Google Doc. It just, like, it's not about half-assing it. It's about just showing up with excellence and giving it everything you've got today, and not letting our ego drive us like that's not enough. But I should be better. But this should, no, it shouldn't. You should just show up and give your best today. That's what a power move looks like. It's just, what is the absolute best? What is excellence today? My only job today is to feel good enough and confident enough to just show up and give what I got today, and let that be enough. And the way I help my clients sort of separate it is this. So there's like this is my action. This is like, these are my, no matter, even if crap hits the fan today, I'm doing this. I'm doing my Facebook Live. I'm creating content for my current programs. I'm doing my blog. I'm whatever the thing is, right? I'm letting myself be seen. I'm sweating and working out, doing my journaling, letting myself be seen today. These are my 4 power moves that I'm doing every day, no matter what. Basically, the whole world can go to hell. I'm getting these things done, right? Like, that's it. And it's knowing that those are my power moves. And then everything else we want to do just goes on the later list. So now that I call it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 bonus. So like, or 3, 2, 1 bonus. So basically, I've learned the energy. When I used to work out, there'd be like 4 minutes left, and I'd be like, oh, 3 seconds left, boom, I hit stop. Or 1 minute left, boom, I hit stop. Then it was, okay, I see it all the way through to the last minute, and now it's at 0, and then I stop. And then it was like, no, we're doing 3, 2, 1 bonus. You're doing a bonus minute of sprinting, right? So like, even if I'm doing 40 laps when I'm swimming, nope, you're doing 41 with 3, 2, 1 bonus. So it's just the energy of going above and beyond what you have. Like that 3, 2, 1 bonus is like seeing it all the way through, staying in it all the way through until you're at the other side of it. Mm-hmm. So your power moves, but then the rest of it goes over here. So 3, 2, 1, that's done. My bonuses are over here. I did my Facebook Live. I created my program. I followed through with the thing. I did everything I said I was going to do today. I'd like to create an opt-in, or I'd like to make my website fancier, or I'd like to whatever. Great. We can have those fancy things, but that's on the side. If those never get done, it doesn't matter, because you're doing the things over here that make the money. I created the program. I let everything not be fancy. I have a crappy graphic. Who the frig cares? I have a $10,000 offer that just says apprenticeship with Mandy Perry with some stripes in the background. Nothing else. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It's the ability to show up and make the power move right now. The power move is whatever the committed action is that sees the thing through, and staying in it until it's seen all the way through, and giving it everything I've got until the end without having to overcomplicate and procrastinate. That's what a power move looks like.
Yeah. So do you have anything, and what I love about this too, like I feel like I could do this with my kids, like to teach them this now. Like, this is what we're going to get done. This is the bonus. This is the bonus. This is the bonus right over here. And also do the bonus like you did with your working out. So do you have, and I'm sure you probably do, like most people I talk to who are successful, who have reached some level of success, they've got some kind of like ritual when they get up. So, maybe they don't just pick up their phone and just scroll. Like there's like some kind of, or maybe you do, I don't know.
I do.
But do you feel like that's important? Is that something that you kind of have in your toolbox and your power moves?
Yeah. So just being completely candid, with the COVID and everything that happened, I got off track with my morning routine, and I literally sort of just like, as everything's rebalanced out, my son moved, and he graduated and moved out and everything too. So I just got messy for a while with it. And then I started remembering. So all of a sudden I was having like 9 a.m. team calls with my team. And it was like this energy of like organization and to do, which is not at all the energy that brings fire to the table for me. Right. So it was like, oh, never mind. I told my team, like, push that off. So I used to just get everything done by 11 a.m. I'd work out, and I would get my journaling and like that mindset stuff done. I'd get inspiration in, I'd get my blog done. I'd create my content for my programs. I'd bang out my tasks, my one-on-one clients in Voxer, whatever I got. And then, you know, by 11 a.m., everything's done. That's my 3, 2, 1. Everything else is a bonus that happens after 11. But sometimes I'd just be done for the day. Like, I'm done. I'm celebrating all the people that are joining because I'm being consistent, and that's it. But then other times I still have a bunch of fire for the rest of the day. Well, I got really messy. So this is just evidence that you can make mistakes and it still works. It still all works. I got really messy for a little while. I was scrolling in the morning. I was watching Netflix every morning for a little while. Like, I just screwed up while this whole thing was transitioning. And then it stopped feeling good. I started wanting to get back to my morning routine. I started remembering like, oh yeah, basically I told the whole world to screw until 11 a.m. And I just did all the things that make my life work, right? Like type some things, say some things, move your body. Like that's all of success right there. I'm going to say something. I'm going to write my email. I'm going to write my sales page. I'm going to write my blog. I'm going to hop on a Facebook Live. I'm going to talk to my private clients. I'm going to say some things. I'm going to talk to my friends and make some plans. And then I'm going to move my body and sweat my body. Like all that was done before 11 a.m. And then the rest of the day was just a bonus. I was taking Thursday and Friday off. So yeah, I do suggest in the mornings doing the things that make you on fire, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it feels really good to have those power moves done. Sweat, get inspiration in, feel the feels, get into the vibes, bang out my most important tasks, which is a blog and a Facebook Live. But sometimes I do the Facebook Live later in the day to mix it up for people all over the world. And then feel how good that feels, to feel that safety and that proud, like it's all done. So yeah, that was it. But it's been very messy for the last few months with this quarantine stuff and the kids not having school and my son graduating. So yeah, I'm really just getting back on track with it. So hopefully that answers you.
I feel like that should be a meme. Like for anyone who's like listening who can't see Mandy, I feel like you should make a meme of like the power moves, like type of things and do the moves. Yeah. I mean, do you ever, I feel like maybe this is not you. Do you ever feel like, I just don't feel like it? Do you ever get that energy of like,
I mostly don't feel like it.
So how do you get past that to like, to do it? Because I feel like that's like the momentum. Once you build the momentum, it gets easier. But when you're in it, you're like, I don't want to.
Okay. This is how I do it. Firstly, I think about the fact that I have about 2,500 weeks left of my life. Like, that's it. You have 2,500 weeks. And do you want to live it watching TV and stuff and like basically living vicarious of someone else's life? Or do you want an exciting, adventurous life? Because adventure happens in the decisions. It happens in the, when you feel those like, oh, I don't really feel like it. And then you do it on the other side is where all the adventure is. So it's like, I'm not willing to give up adventure. I'm not willing to give up the freedom that comes from it. And the power move is to basically be like, okay, but I'm not doing this so that because I have to build some multi-million-dollar company. I don't have to. I can go live on a farm at my brother's house if I want to. Like, I literally don't have to do this, and I know it. So I'm not doing it for that. There's no result I have to get. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I don't need to compare myself to anyone. I literally just get to choose who I want to be. When I'm 95, looking back at my life, how do I want to have lived? Like, what do I want the days to have meant? And since there's no pressure to have to do anything, there's not, then I get to just be the Mandy that I envision in my head, who has the funnest life, who, leaves the greatest impact. And also, two other things. One, I think about, okay, this is not hard. When I was in Haiti at the orphanage, those moms, they had it freaking hard. That was hard. The 16-year-olds who outgrow the orphanage and have nothing and have to get kicked out to nothing and can't get adopted, that's freaking hard. This is not hard. This is child's play. I can do this in my sleep. Quit playing like it's hard, Mandy. It's not hard. And if you're going to say it's hard, then you're going to do twice as much. So now you can do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 bonus. Stop complaining that's hard. And then the other piece of it is really just remembering, like not taking for granted my gifts, like not taking for granted the ability that I have to help people remove the fog and see the truth and take massive action to back themselves and the reward that comes from that. And it's not taking that lightly and not letting some story of I'm not good enough or, whatever crap stop me from actually letting that come to the world and bringing that forward. And then remembering how it feels. Like, how does it feel for them, those people that are stuck there, that are right where I was, 3 years ago, and getting their ass kicked and not having someone or not knowing what to do in those spots? Like, remember how they feel. Don't take for granted the gifts that I have and lock into why I'm doing this, like why I'm showing up for this without any pressure that I have to. Because the second I feel like I have to, I'm going to give a big F you to you. Like, I'm not going to do it if I feel like I'm not. I don't like that pressure. I don't like that feeling. I don't like that world. I've lived there too long. I'm not going to. So for me, it's like pushing it all off. Like if it all went to hell, it really doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. Nothing matters. If my house got taken away, if the whole company got burned down, it doesn't matter. It's all fine. I would just be doing what I'm doing from a car or from a hotel room or from my brother's house or wherever. Like it really doesn't matter. So once I feel that lightness, then it's like, okay, everything else can go to hell. I just get to be Mandy today. And who is Mandy when I'm 95 looking back in my life? How will I want this to matter? Do I have 2,500 weeks left of my life? How do I want to live my life? And for me, it's like, there's no right or wrong. For me, it's like, I want to have just really went for it. I want to go so big. I want to just like fucking jump in. Like I just so badly just want to be like, whatever, we're jumping off cliffs. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to fail sometimes. I'm going to win sometimes, but it's going to be one hell of a ride and not to the life I desire.
I feel like this is such a perfect and powerful place as we're wrapping up our conversation. Like, just what are you going to do with those? Whatever it is, 2,500 weeks you have left. Like, what are you going to do with those? Yeah.
Not pressure wise, not like pressure. Yeah. What are you going to do with them? Like, if it was all about adventure and fun, if life was meant to be adventurous and fun, you know, is it really adventurous to sit and watch Netflix and avoid it and have 2 glasses of wine at night and really not like, that's not adventure. That's not fun. We have the story like, if I take on too much, it'll be hard and I'll be too busy and I won't be able to enjoy life. Really? I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I kind of think that doing more things just equals a lot more fun if that's what you decide for it to be.
Right. It's more of what you want. And what was I going to say on that? I lost it for a minute. Anyway, I don't know. But I love that. It's so powerful. It's just so, I really feel like it just brings it right into your face to like look to the future. Oh, and this is what it is. Yeah. I mean, for many of us who like, we want to go there, we want to do the thing. If we did lose it all, we would be okay. We could go, we could live in the van, we could do the things, we could do that. It would actually like, it would be okay. So looking at
it would probably actually be fun. Let's just be real.
I know.
It would probably be fun and it would never stop your success from happening. I can tell you the massive failures I've always made have never ever stopped the success from happening. It never mattered and it wouldn't matter and it will not matter. Like it's always okay. It's safe. It's like, it's really safe to go for it. It really, not kidding, is super safe to just go all in and go for it. It is.
Yes, I love it. That is such a perfect message as we wrap this up. And I would love for people to find you, to get in touch with you. They need to, and they should follow you if they're not already. So how could someone get in touch with you if they want to find you on the internets?
So my website is mandyperry.com. We usually have whatever the current stuff is at the homepage. Plus there's a really awesome new opt-in that I'm really excited about. It's a 5-video series that goes from old Mandy to like new Mandy, like baby Mandy to current Mandy. So, well, yeah. So that'll pop up right on the website. And then my socials are at Ms. Mandy Perry, MS Mandy Perry.
Yeah, perfect. Well,
and also seriously feel free to just email or reach out. I'm not the kind of mentor who's like I'm on a pedestal or something like that. Like I'm in it with you. I love doing life together. Any value that I can bring to the table, I'm going to. So, feel free to PM me or support@mandyperry.com. Let us know what you need, anything. Like we're here, we're meant to do this together. And if I don't have a resource that will serve you, then I'll send you to someone else. And I have a lot of awesome connections. I feel really blessed. So we got you.
Yeah, you do. And you built that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been like just such a rich, like, I feel so fired up and ready for my day. It's 9 o'clock here. So I got my day. I got my power moves. I'm so ready.
3, 2, 1 bonus.
I listen to you. You're on at 5 in the morning. I'm like, I'm not quite up yet. So maybe I'm going to start. But then it's like, that's my power move, because there's so much energy you bring when you're on your videos and you're doing your thing. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that fuels me. It's not, other things I can do another time, but that's how I want to start my day.
Yes. Every morning I give myself whatever I need to feel. Our only job is to feel happy and confident enough to show up today. Everything else will work out if we do that. It's so simple.
Yes. Well, yep. Thank you so much. We'll be finding you on your socials, and yeah, definitely get in touch. I love it. It's so true. You're so down to earth and just so available. So message Mandy if you've got some questions or want to hear more. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, girlfriend. This was awesome.